It was a slow-moving Monday night, and my mother was preparing dinner while my older sister talked on the phone to a quite annoying boyfriend. As for me, I was happily building endless creations with Legos in the living room, directly adjacent from a window. As I was finishing making a rocket ship, I noticed at the window in the neighbor's house a figure was sitting there, motionless in a rocking chair. This was very odd, because I knew the neighbors very well. They were the type of people who gave full Twix bars on Halloween and overindulged any child. As a matter of fact, they were always an athletic and active family. My tiny brain couldn't wrap around the fact why they were not up and moving. My train of thought was broken by my mother, who was beckoning for me to come to dinner. I joined my mother and my sister at the table and heaved myself into a chair. My sister, like every night, had her fingers and eyes glued to her phone. My mother had a new book she was reading. So at dinner, we just sat around and chewed. My bedtime was 8:30, which is about 2 hours before my mother and sister even considered sleeping. As I lifted my little legs up the stairs, I couldn't help but ponder the reason for the neighbors' laziness that evening. It was so unlike them. I did the usual routine of getting a cup of water, grabbing my teddy bear Stuffy, and tucking myself into bed. As I went to turn off the light, I noticed my window was open, so I got up to close it. That's when I noticed the dark clouds were approaching, and I remembered from school learning that this was the sure signs of a storm. I shut the window and walked back to my bed and turned off the light. At about 3:20 a.m., I awoke to a huge flash of lightning. The brightness almost blinded me, but I knew that as long as I was inside, I had nothing to worry about. Suddenly there was another huge flash, then another, and another. At this time, I thought nothing of it. I thought lightning could be in very close groups. I eventually fell back asleep and ignored the flashes. Then it hit me. Why could I feel cold air? I looked over and noticed that my door was wide open. I have always closed my door, and my mom almost never opens it for any reasons. That's when I realized something was very wrong. I jumped up from my bed and ran to my mom's room. Only until this day do I realize why my mom had those sheets wrapped so tightly around her neck and those bruises on her head, and why my sister had no longer had eyes. To this day, they still don't know who murdered my mother and sister or the neighbors. The only evidence the police have are the bodies and a digital camera in my closet that contained photos of me sleeping on the night of the lightning.